Hi, everybody. Thanks for tuning in to another episode of Tinnitist TV. Today, I am talking to the Cutthroat Brothers. Well, let me tell you, these guys, they're the real deal. Sorta. I mean, they're not actually brothers, and they don't literally, but singer and slide guitarist Jason Cutthroat and drummer Donny Paycheck, formerly of the notorious speed punk Zeke, are both actual working barbers who know how to wield a straight razor. And as the so-called Sweeney Todds of punk, who sometimes perform in blood-soaked smocks, they also know what they're doing on the musical front. Their latest album, Devil in Berlin, is a blast of deep, dark, and dynamic blues punk and garage rock that has rightly earned them comparison to the Cramps, the Gun Club, Nick Cave, X, and the Stooges. That last comparison isn't hurt by the fact that their studio lineup now includes former Stooges, Minuteman, and Firehose bassist Mike Watt, who literally volunteered to record with them when they were on his podcast. As Watt clearly knows, these guys aren't fooling around. Devil in Berlin, which was produced by the legendary Jack Endino, is their fourth studio album in as many years. That's not bad for a band whose membership is divided between Seattle and Hawaii, and who hadn't played a single note together before they hit the studio for the first time. Several weeks back, during a day off from recording their next release, they called up to talk about Watt, Endino, barbering, horror movies, whether they're on the lookout for a great keyboard player with a podcast, and pretty much anything else that popped into their heads. Enjoy. So where are you guys today?
Seattle.
Ah, okay. I heard you were in the studio. Is that right?
That's correct.
Wow. You guys you're lapping yourselves now with these albums. What's the deal?
This guy's prolifically writing all the time, and so every time we hook up, it's like, bam! I've got like 10 songs. I'm like, what?
Yeah.
And we work them out, and it's like we do like a song a day. I go on vacation, visit him in Hawaii. We do make a song a day and record it, right there. And it just happens. It flows, Oh, he does all kinds of stuff to make it flow too. Like he's on retreats and he goes out and visits the volcano and he goes on mushroom trips.
Getting weird out there in Hawaii.
So, well, but where does it, have you always been this prolific, or is this something that's kind of newer,
It's kind of newer, and especially with Donny, we just do good together, and
we're able to make stuff flow, and I think that he finds that it's easy for him to work, so he can, so I can as well. It makes it easy for me. Yeah. We're agreeable, there's a lot of when you add more people, get more opinions, and it's like more no's. This is a lot more yeses.
And it's finally just good. It's finally just good to know that the pact that we made with Satan to make great rock and roll music is finally coming true.
Right.
Excellent. Glad to hear it. I mean, Donny, I would have thought you had a pact with Satan in your old band,
Yeah. So, yeah, we're working right now with Jack Endino again, and also Evan Foster from Boss Martians and the Sonics has been recording part of the new album too. So
you really are a guy who just finds something that works and sticks with it. Is that the deal?
Yeah, I mean, it kind of all started. This band kind of all started with I was just getting heavy duty into Jeffrey Lee Pierce, basically, into the Gun Club, and researching the history of that and the Cramps, and reading about the finding that tuning, because I play slide only,
right?
So I've just that the open D tuning. I think they use open E, but I found the open D was a little bit more like sinister, and then it just kind of went on from there. Like it's just the gift that keeps on giving. It's funny because they call it like the devil's tuning. And which is, I found that out later. I'm like, great, so I mean, great. So yeah,
it seems to fit into the whole thing.
Yeah, it's cool.
And so were you guys you were friends back in the day, right? you kind of knew each other before you put this together.
We did.
When did you find out that you were both barbers?
That's we were friends back in the day. He had a band.
Right.
I had a band. We played together in the scene. He moved. I stayed in the area, but we went our different ways. And I was going to Hawaii a lot. Someone said, I think it was Cody, and he says to me, check out my friend's product line. Local boy makes good in Hawaii. I was like, what? In Hawaii? I go there all the time. Why don't I, local, who is it? So I found out. Then I found the product, which was great. So we started bringing that into our shop.
We connected on the hair thing before
Right
we
away.
ever. Then we were friends for 6 years, sitting on the beach in Hawaii when he would come to visit, complaining about being in bands and like how it sucks. And like, we're like, God, I'm so glad we don't have to do that anymore.
Well,
Like,
what flipped that switch where you guys went, but we both hate being in bands, so let's form a band?
well, I just started writing these songs, and I got a bunch of songs, records worth of songs, and I called Donny and I was like, do you want to play drums on these songs? And he's like, yeah. You want to record them with Jack Andino? And I was like, yeah. And then here we are. I mean, we didn't have a name. We didn't know it was going to be an album. We just went in there just strictly for fun. We just had no clue.
A note together before
And
we
it is
went
for
to the
fun.
studio.
We never played a note of music when we recorded the first album.
We went in the studio and we made those songs, and we were like, uh-oh, this is a thing. Not like, it wasn't like,
Yeah.
let's make a band.
It was we walked in and Jack was like, so are you guys all like rehearsed up and it all's tight and everything? And Donnie's like, yeah, actually we've never played a note of music together. He's like, wow. Just this like laser beams come out of his eyes, like, but it turned out pretty good. So
yeah, obviously. I'm amazed though, you guys didn't come up with the whole Cutthroat thing. Like that wasn't like idea one,
No, we were at work when we thought it up, that we were texting, and I think it was like we were going back. You know how naming bands just sucks.
Gotta find a name.
It's like a rabbit hole. You're like, have all these terrible names, and finally it was
some
just
you
like,
rejected.
what's that?
What was some you rejected?
Rejected names. Do you?
No, a lot.
Probably terrible ones like the High Fades or some like terrible like barber.
They're all hair themed.
yeah, like hair themed stuff. Yeah, exactly. So
I think it's interesting though, to call you guys barbers is really underselling it. I mean, you guys both own, Donny, you've got a couple of places that you own, right? If I've got my facts right. And Jason, you own like a spa thing, and you have your hair care line, and you used to work for like a celebrity stylist. I mean, you guys are very successful at this. So,
Pretty.
yeah.
How do you, is it worth the time to do this,
Oh,
Well, guess what? We can make money working at our jobs, and we love doing that. And it's best to own a small business if you're going to do that. But this is our vacation, our passion, what we do for fun, to have a good time, So that's why it's worth it at this point. Like I said, the yeses, you know what I mean? Rather than well, I don't know if that's cool enough, or, whatever. It's all yes, it's not no. So it's fun, right?
yeah.
And if it's not going to be fun, we're not going to do it.
Yeah, I mean, we said fun. It's got to be fun or we quit. Like that's the main rule for what we're doing, because what's the point? And
I mean, having the success you guys have in the other field, I guess it takes a lot of the pressure off, right? I mean, this can be just something you do for Do the worlds ever mix? I mean, do people come and see you play and then want to get their haircut, or do people who come to you for haircuts then find out about the band, or are they sort of totally separate universes?
There's definitely overlap.
Works both ways.
You see people that are your clients at shows, and a lot, and also like, I
fans will sit in my chair, and then I'll be like, oh, okay, right. It's a little awkward then. You know what I mean? You're like, I'm cutting your hair. It's okay, no worries. They're starstruck or something, you know.
Donny tries out new songs on people in the shop,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? And like in like the barbers that he works with, like, hey, check out this, like, does this suck really bad? Or what do you think about that? Or whatever. So that's kind of fun.
Yeah.
A little testing ground for the music.
So with one of you in Tacoma and the other one in Hawaii, I mean, you know, does it all happen long distance, or is there more opportunity now? I mean, aside from, you know, when you get together once every 6 months, are you guys touring enough that it kind of allows you to work better together when you're songwriting, or what?
The last we got to do our first tour in Europe before COVID in 2019, and that, I mean, I have to say it coalesced everything. Like it really, everything like became
More solid.
Yeah,
more...
it did help. But mainly the process kind of is, you know, I'll sit and think up some ideas in between when Donny visits, which is about 3 or 4 times a year at this point.
I think
like
we've seen each other once a month this year.
Yeah, we see each other quite a bit.
So
yeah,
that's a lot. Yeah.
So now we are spending a lot of time doing.
So he's got a little drum kit that he has left in Hawaii. So when he comes over, we set up in my living room, and we just make phone recordings of the ideas that you know, that I've thought up, and think up more ideas together. And then it'll be what would be the next step? We usually do like some kind of demo thing, like either here, like you go to a friend's studio and start working it out, and then, you know.
Yeah, we've kind of did a demo for the last 2-3 times before we did the records. Like here, like in a small studio, you know, just bang it out.
We're planning to release. We have every single thing that we've done since the beginning, so we're thinking about maybe doing like a demos thing for people who are really into it or whatever. I like that when artists that I like put out like the demo versions of stuff, so we might put out something like that too.
That makes perfect sense. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, and congratulations on finally breaking the half-hour mark with an album.
Yeah, right. That took a lot of working up to do that.
That's like the first one in my career, I think.
Yeah, especially.
Yeah, you know what I was going to say. Yeah, that's not like your other band was known for their epic song lengths. Yeah.
Right.
You know? I think I saw you guys maybe, I don't know, 6 or 7 times, and I honestly don't think I ever saw a Zeke show where there wasn't some form of all-out bare knuckle brawling going on in the audience.
Well, or on stage, right?
Occasionally. I never witnessed one of those, but it's like, I just remember every time it'd be like, oh, now the fight's starting. Okay, go over to the other side of the room, you know?
I mean, you know, that having that energy is great, but it kind of, I don't know, it kind of gets monotonous after a while. It's like, they don't need to fight, let's have a good time. But yeah, they, you know, that energy, you know, get stuff going that fast and people start wanting to do their thing.
Yeah. Well, you get a lot more chance to play to your strengths though in this setting, right? I mean, because it's not all, you know, fast, you know, 1 minute and a half, burn it to the end. You know, you get to use the tom-toms and stuff, you know?
Yeah, doing some different stuff, solos, you know, putting in some more tastier licks allows me to breathe, you know, which is great. I love it. And you know, we even bring in a couple of that those fast beats and the next stuff that we're doing.
Oh. So
you know, we cover whatever we want to do at this point. We're unpigeonholed.
Yeah, it's nice. On this recording too, we're having Evan and his brother Eric play some stuff. Like there's more instrumentation kind of on this next one, like a lot more.
No,
like some,
cool.
You know, Vox organs and cool guitars and extra stuff going on. So
you're gonna have to take like the backing band on the road with you now, right?
No.
Well, maybe not. But what we thought is like if we do go on tour with the Boss Martians, at some point we could have those guys come up and play with us, you know, while we're using their back line on the road, you know.
That makes sense. And of course you've got Watt now kind of circling like a satellite.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've been talking about when we would go on the road with that. He wants to, and it's just hard to get everyone's schedules together, but he's the nicest, coolest, like, and just makes the music so good. Like it always sounds dumb when I talk about it because I'm like, he's so musical, you know, it just sounds ridiculous, but his instincts truly are like, he glues everything together and yet maintains the Wattness of everything that he does. You know, it's unmistakable when you hear him playing that it's him. You know, that's what I love about him. You know, and he's
Wattness is a good term, yes. So
exactly.
you know, and for people who don't know, you were on his podcast and you asked him if he wanted to play bass, and he said yes. Was that like just something off the cuff, or were you honestly thinking that maybe you should ask him and he'd say yes?
It was completely off the cuff, and because
it was almost a joke.
He kept complaining.
We were laughing about it.
He kept complaining that there was no bass. He's like, yeah, but you guys don't have a bass player. And about the fourth time that he said that, I was like, are you offering then? And he's like, well, yeah. And we're like, all right, great. And now this is like the third album that we will have done with him, and it's just a great and that is kind of like going forward, like we've been going forward, and every time we collaborate with Mike Watt, it gets better because we get to know each other more and more over the time. And I mean, you can't, when Mike Watt says, can I play bass on your record, you say yes. Yeah. You know, you don't, that's just, you know, period. That's like, it's the greatest privilege of
it's
our,
like, oh, you guys are working on new songs? Well, how come I haven't heard them yet? Why aren't they over here? How come I haven't put bass on them yet?
Yeah.
It's like, oh, well, here they are. Sorry.
Yeah. It's awesome.
Does he start to change the musical dynamic in your head? Like when you're writing or when you're putting stuff together, do you start to kind of think that, okay, now I can put this in or do this or go here or go there because we've got Watt?
I don't think we don't think about anything like that, about adding anything. I don't think we think like that when we're doing our thing.
It's less like thought out. Songs are way less thought out how this is going to sound. You know what I mean? It's like, here's a riff. We're going to sound like us. Let's play it. Do we think this is good or not? And then we add other people and stuff. So it's us and then other people.
How does Watt puts it? Like the bass, it glues the kick drum to the song. Like that's the job of his. That's how he thinks about it. Right, so yeah. He says he thinks about bass as drums. That's how he plays. So when we hand it off to Mike Watt, he glues it together. Like he just knows how to snake and weave in there, and you can hear these sinewy, it sounds like literally like that, you know what I mean? Like he's just weaving in between what's going on, you know, and sometimes he jumps on top like Corona style, you know, like Minutemen, and bounces around on things, or, you know, you can feel the way he moves. He makes it move, I guess, and defines the way that the experience moves in your mind. So it's just amazing that way.
He's a great musician.
Yeah, for sure. Really cool.
Yeah, I mean, and it's great it worked out, because otherwise, you know, if it hadn't, you'd be stuck with him.
Yeah, that's right. Right. I never thought about that ever, but you're right. That would have been like really unfortunate, wouldn't it?
Yeah. So are you now looking for a great keyboard player who has a podcast that you can go on and?
Right, there you go. Oh, we should think about that.
Get a horn section, you know.
Yeah, exactly.
Keep adding, you know.
Yeah, we'll just add them. They really want to be on this podcast. That's really
So lyrically, I mean, you know, your stuff is very obviously, you know, dark. I mean, you know, a lot of the bands you've mentioned, Gun Club, Cramps, you're definitely writing from that perspective too. What is it about that subject matter and that stuff that sort of interests you, fascinates you, makes it what you want to write about?
I think it's just the blues. It sounds like it's kind of a stock answer, but I don't like to use the word rootsy, because I can't stand that way that's kind of been the aesthetic of that when people talk about it. But when you go back and listen to, like, you know, field recordings, you know, blues musicians and that stuff, you know, that's all that it is. You know, that's rock and roll, right? Like that's just what rock. And I mean, what are you going to write? I mean, what to write about, the subject matter? What is rock and roll music like?
You can be political, but like
that doesn't interest me. You know what I mean?
You know, so I mean, same with Zeke and most of the bands I've ever been in was to have a good time rock and roll. You know, subject matter of like, you know, horror movies and race cars.
Yeah, like whatever's fun.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
we love horror movies. We love
interests.
like, you know,
not politics. We got enough of that bullshit coming down on our backs every fucking day. I mean,
I guess you get to pick like what your thing is supposed to be for or something, and it's just for fun, like just to kind of have a
So classic horror or modern horror?
Oh, but all of it. I
Okay.
feel like, yeah. Are you a fan as well, or?
Yeah, I mean, probably not as much as you, but certainly, yeah. I mean, I've seen my share of everything from, you know, Dracula and Frankenstein to all the zombie stuff. And, you know, what do you guys gravitate towards?
There's all of it really. He's right, because like I love the World War Z. I thought that was an incredible zombie movie, and I love fucking Night of the Living Dead and Nosferatu, and you know, and I own a bunch of these, you know, and we'll go to them, you know, even I mean shit, Scarface is a fucking horror movie.
I think my very first childhood memory I told my parents is of a movie theater, like sitting in the baby carrier on the floor, looking up and seeing the lights of the projector, like shooting across the red velvet seats, and like kind of this classic like thing is my first memory. And they're like, "You remember that?" I was like, "Yeah." They're like, "You were in a baby, you were like not even 1 year old or whatever," and they took me to The Exorcist.
Oh.
So
wow.
that could be
that explains a lot right there.
I think that's basically like that's it, you know, about probably. So I've been chasing that day for ever since I was in the curve. I don't know.
My favorite movie is Jaws. And
There
I
you
remember
go.
seeing that over my mom's shoulder in the you know, drive-in theater. And when that shark came out, boom, I was against the back seat, you know, it scared the shit out of me. And my worst fear is to die in a plane crash in the ocean and get eaten by a shark. You know, it's unrealistic.
But that was part of our thing ever since the beginning. We had the like bloody barber shirt, like kind of horror Sweeney Todd thing going. We didn't even have a name for the band when we did that. You know what I mean? We were just like, we love that because we loved like that dramatic, like rock and roll stuff, like Kiss and like Alice Cooper, these people that put on a show. Absolutely. You know what I mean? So there's something that kind of like visually striking about, I mean, look at the Cramps, for instance. I mean, there's nothing more visually striking to me than that band. You know what I mean? Like they're just like, it's iconic, you know? Yeah. So.
Did I read that you guys are going to be doing some live shows with the dancers from the video?
Well, we did.
You did? Oh, okay.
In Berlin, and then they shot that video during lockdown for us, which was fantastic. They're great, like super talented burlesque.
We'd love to have them.
We would, yeah. And
talking about visuals, yeah.
And if ever money or stage time and size and those types of things, we'll do bigger show for sure. We'd love to have them. They're fucking amazing.
Yeah, and we have friends here in the Pacific Northwest that we sometimes do performances with that done video with us as well. And so we enjoy. Right now, we're kind of enjoying just being the two of us too. As far as like COVID, kind of was like, man, I really just don't want to like organize like it's kind of to us anyways. It's like stripped down, like getting back to like just really like no fluff, you know, is.
Whenever you see us, that's what it is anyway.
Yeah.
The two of us, you know.
Yeah.
And until Mike comes and plays with us, it'll just be the two of us pretty much anyway. Right. So we like, and why we do the primitive sounding stuff too. You know, we like it.
But we're supposed to go back and tour in Europe in the spring, and we'll probably ask the Velvet Creepers if they want to come and jump on a few shows with us and stuff. So.
Cool. So, I mean, are you guys a kind of stylists that have like a lot of clients? And if you go away on tour for a month or 2 months, do you come back and people are like distraught because you haven't been there to cut their hair?
Slight, some.
They're just a little bit fluffier than normal.
I've got other barbers that work at my place, so they can get their hair cut. Not all of them do, but most of them will wait. I have a pretty big clientele.
All the people are really supportive of
they
the
want us to do this
artistic stuff, and they're supportive of it. They get it. Like,
and would you let each other cut your own hair?
we have.
Oh yeah,
For sure.
Oh, that's the best. I mean,
That's the most fun.
Yeah, and once you become a barber, stylist or what have you, your whole attitude towards getting your hair cut really changes. And so it's like, can anybody cut my hair? And right now in the shop, because I'm out of, it's over my ear and driving me fucking crazy. Cut it now, please. So I used to be a lot more picky, like, oh my God, only Jen. I'm just like, anybody, please.
Yeah, somebody. But yeah, we have a good time. We have a good time with that. And yeah.
Well, what is the difference between a barber and a stylist anyway?
Razor.
Straight razors, basically.
Really?
Yeah.
I mean, stylist can be, it's grandfathered in, but the deal with a barber is that we've been trained on a straight razor to give a straight razor shave on a person's face. And like when you're in school and you learn about this, you learn about blood-borne pathogen, you learn about how to stop a cut if you give them a nick, you learn also arteries and all the different muscles in the face, so you know what you're doing. Where it's like there are places that allow stylists to shave people and bad things happen. So
I didn't realize. I thought it was just like a stylist was the one with the fancy place and the barber was the guy with the 2 chairs and the pole.
That's changed so much over the years. It's kind of a fusion of things now, I think, a lot.
Sure.
Lots
of salons look like barbers.
I kind of wish it would go back to way back in the days where the barber was like the dentist and the bloodletting guy, and like, oh, I've got some demons in me. Well, sit on down. We'll just slice you right up, drain a few pints of blood out of you. You'll be great. Like, don't worry about it. Like, I love it.
We got fresh leeches.
I wonder what we would charge, like in modern times, or something like that. You know what I mean?
Leeches? We should charge for leeching people.
Perfect. Sounds like you got the beginnings of another album there going on.
There you go. Yeah. I better stay a few more days and record another one.
So have you guys finished recording the next one already? Are you done?
We just finished tracking it.
Oh.
So we're kind of in this like in between time. As a matter of fact, last night we just put down the final tracks on 11 songs on this one, I think.
And how long did that take?
This one we did a little bit different because the other records we would just do the whole thing recorded and mixed. The first one was like, it's 3, 4, and 5 days, I think is what we were like, ooh, let's really get luxurious and add one more day, So it was like 3 days, 4 days, 5 days. And now we did a different approach, which was let's just go do the drums and then we're going to not do anything on it for like a month or 2. And we're going to take a break. So it's taken a long time to do this, but we wanted to take lots of breaks and not have any like kind of decision fatigue. We wanted every single thing to be more, more deliberate maybe. The other ones, not that there's not spontaneity on it, but
where there wasn't like a note that was, or something that we didn't like. If that makes sense. It's like not necessarily, that's not all overdubbed and all digitized or something like that, but like just that all the live performances were the best performances that we could give. And so once I gave the drum performances, I wanted to listen and make sure that I didn't hear like something that just bummed me out or didn't feel right. So then once we started really going in there and putting the vocals and stuff on, that we didn't have any. Right.
Yeah, when you do like 11 or 12 songs in 3 days, the decisions that you have to make it's impossible almost, at least for us, to see every single thing that you've got to decide, like, is that gonna make it? Or, you know, it's just different in like this really crucial way.
So it's like it's more finishing.
And
like,
for us too, we were like, we don't want the other person to leave or be finished with their parts until every note is exactly what you want to have. Like if we've got to redo it or we've got to listen to it for a long time. So that, and it doesn't matter what I think, doesn't matter. It was like really for each of us, like, you know, of course we would have our ideas or whatever, but I remember that was a lot different. Like when we were laying down the drums, there'd be a decision-making thing. I would be, instead of being like, yeah, let's move forward because we got all this other stuff to do, it'd be like, Donny, is this your favorite drum thing that you've ever played?
Right.
If not,
let's do it again.
Then let's do it again. Because it's all, we just focused on the very, instead of trying to fit an entire record's worth of music into a time frame, we focused on each thing like very, very like specifically. And it's turned out, you know, it's turned out really cool.
It's really cool.
It's really, really good. This next record is, and again, because with the organs and other instrumentation, like it's really more straight up Pacific Northwest garage influence, like Sonics, Wailers, like we're really pulling that into what we're doing as well. You know, like those guys did another kind of great version of the blues, you know.
Yeah.
So we're kind of enjoying that.
And what does Andino bring to the process that makes him the perfect kind of guy to keep going back to for this?
Because he's done, how many records have you done with
Oh
Jack?
God, hundreds. Yeah.
A lot of records, maybe 10, tracked 10 times.
Like it's almost impossible to imagine anybody else recording Donny's drums.
I love the sounds that he gets for me too.
And the way they communicate.
Work and tune and everything is like, we spent a day there doing all the drums and we were fucking happy. I was so happy.
And they're friends. Like
right.
Jack's been over to Donny's house for Thanksgiving. Like they're the communication.
It's like you could say this, Donny, sit down and shut the fuck up. And I will sit down and shut the fuck up. And he has. So.
And he's done over 500 records in his, what Jack says is, he really is a wizard.
Yeah.
He really does. I mean, this is the guy, he can build a guitar amp from parts, from scratch, yeah. and has perfect pitch. Like it's wicked annoying. You know, because he'll let some stuff slide because it's rock and roll, but he clamps down a lot, like, you know, and also he just has an insane work ethic. Like there's no fucking around with him at all.
The fastest engineer.
He's ahead of you 3 or 4 moves, ready for the next thing before you're even done putting your guitar back on the stand.
Everyone else we're waiting
and he's mixing it at the same time and editing all the tracks at the same time.
And we're waiting for everyone else. When we work with other guys in their engineering, we're like, we got the headphones on. They're like, "You ready?" We're like, "Yeah." They're rolling it. We're singing already, and they're not recording. Where Jack never rolls a damn thing without recording us because it's like we're playing. You know,
well, and that's just now after all this time doing records with him. That's what Donny's used to. That's all I know is like this militaristic speed of like,
let's work.
You know what I mean? Like he really wants you to not, and he'll push you too. He'll push you for more songs. He's like, and as a matter of fact, that's a great example of Jack. Here's Jack. We're all done, and he's like, no, we still have a couple of hours. Let's do like another song.
You guys said yeah.
And it ended up being The King Is Dead, which I was so exhausted by that. But Donny was like, hey, there's a riff that we did on the phone in Hawaii. We threw this thing, there wasn't lyrics, there was just a riff. We worked it out. I don't even remember recording that song. I was so tapped out.
One take, we did it once.
And it ended up being like one of the better cuts on the record, you know. It ended up being like really different and you know, but when I try to think back of recording that, I have no clue like what happened. But Jack will like,
he wants you to get your money's worth too.
He'll push you until you don't have any ideas left. It's amazing.
Because he'll work 12-hour days and work like that for 12 hours.
And he'll keep working after we go home.
Oh yeah, for sure.
He'll be like, oh, I'm just gonna work on this stuff and mix it for like a couple of hours, and
I'll see you guys later.
Yeah.
See you at 10 tomorrow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Pretty awesome.
Yeah.
Because I was going to ask, is he still glaring laser beams at you and rolling his eyes? But it sounds like he is still.
Depends, yeah. He's Jack. He does his thing, but
he's warmed up over the years, though.
We have a great time too. That's just the times when we're actually down to brass tacks. But like, we brought him like a Cutthroat Brothers shirt and jacket, and we were taking photos. He was having so much fun. We probably posted them, but yeah, we have a good time. And that's the other thing, is that we do get a lot of work done. That when we do take a break and stuff like that, it's really easy and fun and happy in there. So it's just like, I've had a lot of studio experiences where it was in between those times. It was just like, I wanted to fucking kill myself. It's like, I did not want to be there, and everybody's fighting, or it's like, God, this is horrible. But this experience now is just like, it's fun times, it's family time. So I'm all happy being there with them. I can't imagine. I love being with Evan too. But and they're bros. But it's just a different.
It's probably really boring, but the way that this band operates is not like with conflict or like creative tension. It's really like just whatever's fun and
love
and loose and having a good time. Because
what's fun,
you have these ideas when you're trying to find your way, that's makes it more intense or better in a way. If you're like struggling to make something happen, I'm just not interested in feeling like that anymore. I'm just not interested in
I hear you. I mean, I'm old enough too that I want to do what I want to do. I've done all that other stuff, and I mean, that's got to be one of the joys of this band. I mean, aside from not having conflict, is like we were talking about before, you've got these other things going on that you're not dependent on making enough gas money to get to Boise or something. Right. You can tour how you want, you can play how you want, you can make the records you want, and there's nobody looking over your shoulder telling you, no, you got to do this. I don't hear a single blah 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 blah. Right?
It is completely free in that way. Yeah, it's great, and that is really, really nice. Maybe we try not to take that for granted, but yeah, it is. It's a really, really great place to be, and we've got this label, Hound God in Berlin, and Oliver's so supportive and amazing. Like, that's been really great. Like, he's very hands off. He just is like, yeah, just give me whatever you want, and I dig it.
He's just a lover of music.
Yeah, he just loves music,
and that's really awesome. We're in a unique position that like artists that actually have big ass labels that give them a lot of money. We're kind of in the same position because we do not have to count on gas money. And you were right when you said that. It was a huge weight that ruins music. It ruins artistic creativity. And the label that says, yeah, we need another record from you guys, tomorrow, it's like, their business.
Well, with this band, it wouldn't be a problem. I actually have a whole record I was going to want to record it on,
sure.
So that's.
But
exactly, give him a bran muffin and a cup of coffee, he'll write you an album.
Yeah,
no one's got the pressure on, so you can do what you want. It's a great position to be in. It really is.
Yeah, seems to me like that only adds to the potential for the longevity of this band.
Yeah, for sure. Definitely.
I think the other thing, and I've some people have opinions. They're like, oh, putting out too much material. I don't agree with any of that. Like, and I think, like, if the creative tap is on and you are able to do it, especially like at the point in our lives where we're at and with what we've experienced, I guess it's like you should do it. Like, if someone says, do you want to go on tour, you say yeah. Or if you have songs, you say, yeah. If you sit down and say, I have a minute, should I write a song? And you have an idea, then do it. Because I think what we learned from COVID too is all of that shit can go away like in 2 seconds. you should have never take that kind of opportunity for granted. You should always try to like make the most of it. And that's the part that I love that. I love that part. You know what I mean? Like, it's not like a means to an end. Like the whole process is the reward of a thing. I mean, I love getting the fucking final vinyl record and, you know, you put it on and, or, you know, you get to see that beautiful end product, but every step of the way, I mean, dude, we're workshopping and arranging these songs in my living room in Hawaii. What is wrong with this picture? Like, we're having a blast, and, you know.
And the fucking view.
I don't want to sound like an asshole, but it's
the
fun.
View is you know, the best view in the fucking world. I mean, from his lanai,
it's modest view. But
it's right. You see the sunset every fucking night, and you can't. There'll be never anything in front of it because it's a heiau, which is a sacred place that they can't build anything on. So this view, and it's pristine. The water, the sun goes.
But we also, yeah, that soaks into the whole entire sessions, because we also don't sit there for like 18 hours a day going like, let's just work on. We play it like did that
3 or 4?
Oh, we got like a version on the phone, like that's fine. And then we'll just go back to hanging out or make dinner or whatever, you know, it's just very like that. So we have.
Why you're still living in Tacoma?
What's that?
I gotta ask why you're.
That's what, my shop is there, and my house is there, my stuff is there. I am very close to not being there, you know. But it's again, clients too. So, you know, with touring, you know, I also got to make sure that I make enough money to be able to live that touring lifestyle without having to worry about the gas money.
It's also super fun though to come over and play shows here. Mainly we play shows over here because we're working on making music over here. But you know, the last shows we played 2 shows with Agent Orange, and we've gotten to play. We did play on the Big Island with DOA, which is amazing. To play in Hawaii with DOA, and you got to see Joey after all those years, and
I can't picture Joey Shithead hanging out in Hawaii. I really can't. You know?
It was the craziest show. There was like a total monsoon rains and just like tarps out here, and like a couple hundred like punkers like in the mud, rain puddles,
dancing in the mud,
flooding, and it was really, really fun. But yeah, that's good over here.
And it was still 80 degrees, and it was flooding like up in it is up north today,
Vancouver,
here in Washington, but it was still 82. So we're still in shorts, you know what I mean?